Heyo.
Hey guys, good morning.
Welcome back.
I hope you had a good week.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to start off our summer, and we wanted to talk about, in a way, what will be our life a year from now.
Yeah, we have a really big year ahead of us. Our youngest son, Evan, he just completed this week his junior year of high school.
So he's going into his senior year, his last year of high school.
It feels really weird.
And with that
We have
is.
Dylan is turning 20.
Yeah.
That's crazy to have like a kiddo in their 20s, but then also graduation of the youngest. And he's been looking at schools that are not at all close to where we're going to be for schools. I mean, like universities. So
And with that comes empty nests.
empty nest.
Yeah. Just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Yes. Yeah.
We made it almost.
Yeah.
I remember when I said I wouldn't say that, but in this case, we made it. Like, I remember when our kids were so little and the toddler days are so long, and people would be like, it goes fast. Before you know it, you're going to be 40 and your kids are going to be leaving the house. And I was like, that is a lie. It doesn't go fast.
Yeah.
But it does.
Little kid days seem long.
Long and hard.
Yeah.
Because kids are wild. I actually heard something this morning that I was like, ooh, I liked that. And it was like advice for somebody who has a toddler and or like a young child. And he said, I don't even know who it was. Something along the lines of, it was like on a reel on Facebook.
Yeah, he was
or
British.
Something. And he was like, make hard choices now so that it's an easy life later. And that kind of resonated because I do think that like it's hard. It is hard to be a parent of a toddler or a kid or a teenager.
Yeah.
And
they are sponges, and what you let them soak in is, their trajectory a lot of times growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you and I are both, our stories show that. Like, there's so much that, like, as an adult you come to and you're like, I don't know if I agree with that, right? And then, like, we mess up our kids in our own way. And the hope is that they become better than we were, right? Like, that's always every parent wants their kid to be better than they were.
Yeah, and still want them to be strong, independent, hopefully Christian men who are good people.
Mm-hmm.
And can navigate the world in a kind and caring and considerate
that they're like
way.
Good humans.
Yeah.
And they're also like honoring to themselves. Like they're chasing their dreams and they're seeing what's important to them and they're finding who they are authentically.
Yeah. And I know we've done a good job looking at our kids.
It's on the back.
Yeah. I mean,
our kids are actually awesome, and I don't know if it was us or a combination of us and the community around us.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they've also had some like.
But when you get a comment from other people, to me that's like it's like so heartwarming. Like
especially when at home they're being poops.
Yeah, or everything they say is argumentative.
Yeah, and then somebody else is like they're so respectful, and you're like, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness they're pulling it together somewhere.
Yeah, and I know when I was either of our kids' ages, I wasn't making great choices.
No.
Like I totally trust our kids. If we were to leave on a weekend together,
I think that they're gonna not go crazy like.
I trust that they're not.
They're still teenagers.
They're not doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What I was doing. That I know of.
Yeah, and I think that it's been really important. So one of the things we wanted to talk to you guys about is how do we plan to navigate a relationship with our kids once they move out? So what do you think? Like once they're gone and it's just you and me and we have found ourselves a cute little 2-bedroom cottage somewhere, hopefully downtown, walkable to breweries.
Yeah. No yard. Like we have no yard.
A little, like I
We
kind of
have
want
a garden, but I don't want like mowing.
Yeah,
I want
maybe
very
no
little
mowing.
maintenance that we can just pack up and go
I mean, Scout needs a yard.
for a vacation. You can live within a distance of a walking
Right?
trail, park,
The dog
river.
needs a yard. A little.
We're active enough. Yeah.
Anyway. So we'll get there. It's okay if we don't have a yard. I'll be all right.
Or we can.
A rooftop would be amazing.
There you go. Solved.
Like a cool condo downtown, rooftop. I'd do that for a few years.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when that happens and we are like cool, hip.
Early 40s, no kids.
Well, not early anymore.
Yes, you'll be early 40s.
I will.
I'll be mid 40s.
He's not going to be.
But yeah, I think it'll be exciting. We get to date each other. It's something that we do.
But we didn't do
before.
But we
didn't do before our marriage. But we get to do that.
Like we've never come home from a date to not kids. Really.
I mean, yeah, for the most part. Yeah. Unless kids are at grandma's for like a weekend.
But even then, it's different.
Yeah, it's still
right?
So we can downsize.
We will finally have hot showers.
Hot showers, less garbage in the house as far as like junk food.
Yeah, we don't. Our grocery
it's hard
bill
to
will get better.
Self-discipline when you have a pantry full of kid food.
Yep.
So that'll be nice. Hot water, groceries. Don't have to clean up any of their stuff. We don't have to
record at odd hours so that it's quiet.
Yeah. You don't have to wait, pretend we're not asleep, waiting for them to come home at night.
Yeah.
I usually just fall asleep though, so.
Yeah, well.
But, you still worry about, are they going to make it home? And
I don't know that ever goes away. The worry.
When they weren't at the house, I didn't. When Dylan moved, when he was in the dorms, I didn't.
Not on like a night, not like that, but like you still worry.
Oh yeah, you start to worry what they're up to and what they're doing. Yeah.
But I think one of the things that you've talked a lot about, and I agree with you, is just this need to stay connected to them too. So like, yes, they're off and we're going to be doing our own thing, but how can we make sure that they know that we want a relationship with them into adulthood?
Yeah. I mean, open communication. Like, I want them to still feel loved and cared for, and the ability to communicate or come home. If they fail at school or relationships or whatever, it's like, and you want to talk, ask, right? Questions about things. And if not, that's great too, but I want them to know at least it's an option.
Yeah. Like, I hope that they have a support system and that they have plenty of people to talk to, but I never want them to feel like they're a burden to us.
No. And I think part of the things that we've done in raising our kids is, we take the time to date each other, but we've also taken the time to take our kids out on dates in a way. Like, I'll take Dylan to Dairy Queen and you take Evan to a movie. And then next month we switch, and it's just an opportunity. Or I'll take the boys to something without mom, and you'll take the kids out to something without dad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just different than our kind of family daily dinner conversation, which is usually just very generic and how's school, how's weather, what are you up to? How did that
test go? Yeah.
It gives the kids to just be
sometimes it's just like unwind time. Yeah. Like if you're with them for like a good hour, and it can be small. Dylan is in a bunch of art classes right now and needed a live model. And so I volunteered as tribute because he had to draw a face. Nothing weird, right? Just a face. And so I sat very, very still at the dinner table for an hour, but I got to spend an hour with him of just like undivided. We talked about relationships and school and work and all of it. So it's nice when you have that time.
Yeah. And I think that time is well invested in, because those are things that we'll remember, and I'm sure they'll remember, as far as like, how can I
Mm-hmm.
and can I communicate with my parents?
Yeah. So what do you think, and this is something that like I think people, they have their differing opinions on, because I do think that like once they move out, there's space involved, right? Like I remember needing space. Like I needed to go find myself. But I also like I really appreciated not like the relationships that didn't become one-sided when I became an adult. The ones that actually like reached out, sent texts, that still do. Like I still get, you know, shout out to some of my aunts and uncles that like still reach out, or cousins that reach out, or whoever, that as adults that you don't have to, but they still make an effort. And I think as parents, for me, like my perspective is don't put it all on the kid. Like you should also step up and make an effort to like continue the relationship.
And the excuse is like, well, you're busy or whatever. It's like, you know what? Everybody's busy all the time.
Yeah.
You know, email, text message, a voicemail, it doesn't take much.
Yeah, like if I don't answer, leave a voicemail, right? Like send a text, say I'm thinking about you.
And yeah,
Nobody's going to be offended by a text that says I'm thinking about you and I love you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the point. You gotta, like, I think, I don't know if it was something we watched together or whatever, but it's like, you have a parental duty. You know, we went into this relationship wanting kids, so we had kids, and there's certain things
choice,
as a parent we have to do. You know, as per, you know, the basics
the
of
minimum,
you know, providing for a child,
meals and house, and
but that doesn't necessarily mean or you're going to have a relationship with your child. Right?
Yeah,
it takes more than just giving them a bed and food and utilities and driving them off to the places. It requires communication, interest. You know, there's a lot of things that you have to put in the work.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be interested in things. Actually, my mom, when I was in high school, I got really, really into like grunge punk. And I remember talking to her about, and she was like, well, one day when you have kids, you know, doing the whole thing. And I was like, I'm going to understand because I know what it's like to be a cool teenager. And she was like, so did I, Beck. So did I. She said, the thing is, they always come up with something new.
It's true. It's yes and no, like, though, on that. Like, there's so many things that I think are dumb that kids are into. Yeah, but there's also like a ton of stuff that kids are into that are like, how can you be into that? Because that's what I was into.
Yeah, there is some of that.
Like 30 years ago. And I get it. Like, the music my dad listened to, I think's pretty cool. Like,
yeah. And I went through like a pretty hard, like,
and then I know like
hard rock phase where it was like Pink Floyd and
and kids like now like 90s music.
That's true. Evan loves his 90s hip hop, and I love that.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, or 90s fashion, how it came back, and it's like, okay.
I mean,
it did.
It did. I'm not happy about it. Like, I don't need a pair of Jinkos and.
No, but it did, and so, but there's also like, there's a whole lot I don't understand, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, and that is. I mean, we're like a society that adapts, and our kids are going to adapt with it, and they're going to. I feel like every generation's always like the next generation is what's wrong with the world, and it's not. It's that we all are what's wrong with the world to a point. Like, it's on all of us, and we just get stuck. And so, like, as parents, it might seem dumb what they're into, but like, learn it.
Yeah.
I have played Minecraft. I have played.
Gone to the Minecraft exhibit in Seattle.
We went to the Mopop Minecraft exhibit. Yeah. We have not seen the movie yet.
No. But we've watched
all the
hundreds
other
of
ones.
hours of cartoons and things
I've
that
watched
we have no
Cars
interest in.
like 100 times. Yeah. Um,
It's a good movie,
but you
but
establish
not
these
1,000
relationships
times.
and you meet them where they're at, I think is the point.
Exactly. And you do that with people you care about, like if you, I would, you know,
Yeah.
we
Like if
didn't go
you,
about it that way, but like when you date somebody, you take an interest into what they're
we have
into.
time.
We did, but you know, you pour into and start learning about them and what they like, and
Yeah. And I think, yeah, that's with anybody. Like if you're
yeah,
making
it's
a
any
friend.
relationship, coworkers, like knowing a new job.
Mm-hmm.
You got to become part of the
Yeah.
unit, part of the culture, part of the machine.
Well,
As
yeah, to
in the
get to know
beginning,
them and
yeah,
to like understand them and know, like make those connections. And like as a parent, it doesn't have to stop when they're adults. Like adults are they're probably gonna be into cooler things now that don't feel as weird.
yeah,
So like join them in that.
yeah, and they'll have their own discretionary income to do cool stuff too, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll be dinks,
Yes, we will.
and so we'll have some extra income.
Dual income, no kids. That's what, for those of you that don't know.
Yeah, so we can have fun adventures.
Unless you finally let me retire and just be a dog mom.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think I would actually like it very much. I think I'd get bored out of my mind. That's actually how I ended up with a master's degree. Because when we moved to Germany, I had this gift of having 2 years without having to work. And I was like, oh man, that's going to be awesome. And I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom and I'm going to do all the things for the kids. But the problem is that the kids were in school. And so I had all day just like to myself. And I wrote articles and I did little things like that. But then I made it about a year and then I started back to school because I was like, I'm bored. So
I wouldn't last either. But I'm excited. I'm excited that
we'll cross that bridge when retirement comes.
Yeah.
See what
I'm
happens.
excited for their adventure and where they go and what they do.
Yeah.
I'm excited for where we'll be maybe in a year. Like we said, we could downsize. We could, you know, at that point with no, like a dependent really, we could travel the world more than we do now and live somewhere abroad and yeah, and just let the kids
The world
become
will be our oyster.
yeah, let the kids become the great adults that I know they'll become, and
We got to go somewhere though. If we do move abroad, I was asking Dylan about this. We got it because we got to go where they want to come visit,
True.
so that we can still visit, and just buy them a plane ticket to come on out. So there's that.
Yeah.
But it's fun to dream, and I think that like we'll be okay.
Yeah. And it's good to ask your kids what their dreams are. And so you can also help. Whether it's just motivation or
And
direction.
yeah. And we will continue to grow closer together. We will finally, we can date for real. You can pick me up in your car and then come in with me at the end of the night instead of dropping me off. But I think that's going to be exciting. I think that there will be an adjustment. I know for myself, the biggest word of caution as I think about the next phase is to not overwork.
Yeah, not to.
I am that person that will like just jump on every opportunity to keep myself busy, and I don't want to do that to myself because I think that like right now it's been like, well, I gotta get Evan home, or I gotta go home and make dinner for the family, and I think once they're gone, there's gonna be a temptation to kind of like, well, I can stay the extra hour, or
Yeah, we'll truly have more time.
yeah. And so I think that like using my time a little bit more wisely to like build into us is gonna be important, and so like really making an effort to like just not turn into that person that's just working all hours of the night either, you know? Anything that you want to make sure you avoid?
Yeah, I think, you know, that's definitely a possibility. It's like adding something to the table and that becoming more encompassing and taking away from that time that we need to enjoy each other and date each other again. But I also worry about the other side of it would be like becoming dependent on just you, and like you being the only
Yeah,
truly the only person that you have to communicate with when you come home. It's like just my wife, that I like make sure that I still
it's so important to
pour
have, like,
into
adult friends.
adult
Yeah.
friendships, and whether it's at church or a men's group or
Mm-hmm.
coworkers, and just having your own thing too, and not just being like suffocating to
Yeah.
like
At church last night, they were talking
our own
about like the
relationships, so.
loneliness epidemic, and you can
Yeah.
absolutely still feel lonely and have a partner at home, for sure.
Yeah, so I think that's something to be aware of and think about. But I think just having these conversations and knowing that these are kind of things that we're thinking about helps keep us out of that guardrail and away from it as we go forward, because then we can keep each other
Yeah. Accountable, kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah. And for those of you, so we'll wrap it up, but for those of you who have treaded these waters, what do you got for us? So I would love to hear some advice.
Yeah. What are some of the first things you did as you empty nested? Was it? I mean, there's going to be a time, I guarantee, that's sad
For sure.
for
I mean,
for everybody. But then
I
it's
cried
like,
for a little bit when Dylan
yeah.
left.
But then what did you do? Like,
You adjust.
what was your biggest change?
But yeah, like how did you? Because that first time adjustment was easier because we still had one at home. So this time we won't. So what is that? For those of you who have gone through it, what advice would you have for two people who are a year away from that?
Yeah. Drop a note.
Or a message, or however. Thank you. We have heard from a few of you on different things, and I appreciate those of you who are like, hey, here's what you should do an episode on. Or
we have some great ideas for some stuff coming up, especially with our summer adventures. And
and that's thanks to you guys. So
we're listening.
We're listening, and thank you for continuing to tune in. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.